Hello, mindful friends. Today we're going to be talking about the nature of the mind during our mindfulness practice. And the other day in a class, I asked people when they hear of mindfulness, what they associate it with, or how they would define it. And I had one person say that they see it as a clearing of the mind, a time for everything to go quiet and to stop thinking. And I had another person respond that it was actually being able to observe the thoughts and to kind of notice what you are thinking and kind of think about what you are thinking. And so I told them that they're both correct, right? We can't just say that mindfulness is only about finding time where our mind is completely settled and still and we're quieting everything. That there's also a place in it where we do notice what our thoughts are, and we can kind of develop new ways of relating to them, so that both are included in the practice. And that before we're able to kind of look at our thoughts and relate to them in new ways, that it is very helpful to start with a little bit of the settling of the mind, a quieting of the mind, which is what we do with our breathing practices, our present moment awareness practices, the sensory input practices, that all of those are training us to slow down the onslaught of thoughts, to kind of bring back the attention to the present moment while it's trying to wander off into all these places at once. And so we're directing the mind back to the here and the now. And then when we strengthen that ability and the mind is able to stay on, say, the sensory feelings in the body, so what the body's experience is. Now, when we're concentrated all on that, it does quiet the other thoughts, because all that busyness and noise all of a sudden is all just directed towards the body. Right? So we're not off in the future trying to control it and fix everything that's going on. We're not back in the past trying to change what happened or analyze it. Now our mind is just here, focused on the experience of the body. What's my body feeling in this moment? How's it doing? What's it needing? And that does quiet the mind. Or you think about it in your breathing exercises. If your focus is all on the sensations of breathing, the in-breath, the out-breath, it's no longer given kind of the free range to wander off into all the worries and the stresses. And so it really does feel like a quieting of the mind, even though what you're really doing is directing the attention to a present moment experience that's peaceful. So that is kind of the experience that this one person was saying of, my thoughts go away. It's a time to be not thinking. So that was her experience, and it is correct. It's a big part of mindfulness. It's being able to direct to a peaceful experience in the present, so that all those other wandering thoughts aren't controlling us and taking over our experience. Now, when we do start to be able to settle, kind of a useful tool, this is another tool in mindfulness, is to be able to step back from the thoughts. So you're finding that quiet space with the breath, remembering that there's more to you than just the thinking mind. And you use that observer to then watch the thoughts. So that instead of engaging with the thoughts, instead of letting them direct you and guide your experience, you get to watch the thoughts. And I always teach people exercises of like labeling the thoughts. So you could put them as past, present, or future. And then once you label them, let them go, release those thoughts. And then you can also observe the thoughts to notice their patterns. So this is deepening our understanding of our own mind and how it is perceiving self and others and the world. And this is a big part of mindfulness because it leads towards that understanding of the mind so that we can start knowing what the mind needs, what we need to heal and start developing a more helpful perspective of self, others, and the world. And so we watch the patterns in the mind. We notice from a distance, not from an engagement in the thoughts where we're believing them all and getting pulled by them all, but from a distance where we get to watch and observe. And we notice, what are my patterns? Are they most helpful? Are they harmful? Do they align with what I value most? Do they help me show up as my authentic self? And this tells us a lot about how our mind is creating our experience. And we can then kind of shift that in ways that are more helpful. So creating mantras, affirmations that kind of superimpose more helpful thoughts into the patterns that normally guide us into dark, not so helpful places. So in this sense, the other student, the other client in my class was also correct, because there are times in mindfulness where we do observe thought and learn from it and look into it as to why it's there, what it's doing for us, what it's creating. So when you think about, well, what is mindfulness? Should I just be clearing the mind and stepping back from thought, or should I be observing thought? Both belong, and there's a place for both and a utility for both. But I would say if we have a really difficult time stepping back from thought, just returning to the breath, it might not be time for us to move on to the observation of thought, because now we haven't developed the skill strong enough that disengages us from unhelpful thoughts, that helps us be the peaceful observer. So in my order of operations, I like to first help people strengthen their ability to step back from thought, to engage with present moment awareness, to develop that muscle that gives you the ability to harness the attention and place it where you would like it to be on a peaceful present moment experience. And then we can move more into the peaceful observer of thought patterns that do arise when our mind is just kind of free to flow in everyday life. So I invite you this week to notice, are you able to step back from thought, to direct the thought to the breath, to keep it on the present moment? And then have you also experienced in your mindfulness the times when you get to use that peaceful observation to actually observe your thoughts and what comes up for you there, and how are both useful to you? If you enjoy these talks and would like to join us for individual coaching or group classes, you can find us at newleafmindfulness.com. These teachings and many more are in my book, Living from the Heart, Healing Ourselves so we can heal the world. And you can purchase that anywhere that you buy audiobooks or hardcover books. And then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I hope to see you all very soon.